Let's just dive right into this explainer, okay? We're gonna peel back the neon pink hoodie of the 2020s cartoon icon, Ava Thompson, to reveal a hidden psychological tragedy. Look, if you watched animated TV in the early 2020s, you absolutely knew who Ava Thompson was. I mean, you literally couldn't escape her. She was practically vibrating with upbeat energy, serving as the energetic heart of this massive multi-million-dollar franchise. But today, we're gonna look past that bouncy Saturday morning cartoon music and all those slapstick jokes. Because what we find underneath, it's actually one of the most devastating stories ever hidden in children's television. You know, with her clunky tech goggles and that signature relentlessly wide smile, Ava was the ultimate comfort character for an entire generation. Kids absolutely loved her goofiness, and parents, they loved her endless kindness. She was designed to be the very picture of joy. But it raises a question that completely upended the fandom. What if that happiness wasn't actually genuine? Like, what if the happiest character on television was hiding the darkest secret? And honestly, it's a total masterclass in misdirection. Right on the surface, you've got her trademark traits. The neon colors, the relentless optimism, the slapstick humor that, sold millions of toys. But as the fandom dug deeper, they realized the energetic anchor of this whole franchise was actually hiding a devastating psychological reality right in plain sight. We are talking about severe trauma responses, incredibly dark lore, and toxic positivity. The creators definitely didn't just stumble into this, it was a carefully crafted illusion from day one.
So, to truly understand Ava's tragedy, we first need to look at her design. We need to look at how her shape triggers a sense of psychological safety before she even utters a single word. The creators of Ava knew exactly what they were doing when they built her visual model.
If you know animation, you know shapes carry deep psychological weight. Triangles and squares usually represent danger, unpredictability, or rigid stability. But circles mean safety and warmth. Ava is built entirely of soft, inviting circles. From her oversized round goggles to her round face, all the way down to her meticulously engineered bounce animation, everything about her screams, "You are safe." But here is the brilliant twist. The animators hit a subtle two-frame animation twitch in her design. Just a quick micro-expression of profound sadness that flashes across her round eyes whenever someone mentions her past, right before she instantly snaps back into a wide smile. It's so fast you'd miss it if you blinked.
And that micro-expression brings us directly to this concept: toxic positivity. Basically, this is the act of weaponizing optimism to avoid acknowledging negative emotions or severe trauma. We see this crystallized perfectly in Season 2, Episode 14. Remember when the team is exploring those terrifying, ruined archives of an old city? While all the other characters are exhibiting totally natural fear, Ava just laughs it off. She cracks a joke to distract everyone. Her relentless optimism isn't just some quirky personality trait, it's actually toxic positivity acting as a trauma response to keep herself from just completely falling apart.
Now, you might be wondering, if her backstory is so dark, why didn't the show just come out and tell us? Well, network censors simply wouldn't allow heavy-handed, traumatic backstories in a kid's programming block. So the creators brilliantly bypassed the censors by burying Ava's true history within the environmental design of her workshop. They basically turned the background of the show into a giant puzzle box for the audience to solve.
And the absolute crucial point is right there on her desk. Amidst all the scattered blueprint papers and half-broken old photographs, lore hunters zeroed in on one specific item: a rusted mechanical compass. To a casual viewer, or, a kid, it's just a random prop to show she's an inventor. But to the dedicated fans analyzing literally every frame, this compass wasn't just set dressing, it was a massive smoking gun.
Here is exactly why that compass blew the fandom's collective mind. A later historical lore drop, just faintly mentioned in the universe, confirmed that this specific compass model belonged exclusively to the Vanguard project. That was a colony ship that vanished into the void 10 years before the show's timeline even began. Think about how this changes everything we know about Ava. She isn't just a quirky mechanic. She is a survivor of a catastrophic technological failure. Her compulsion to constantly build gadgets and fix machines isn't just a fun hobby. It is a desperate psychological need to control her environment so she never ever loses her family again. She is literally trying to fix the machine that took her world away. All right, let's fast forward to the famous Season 4 finale and see how this all builds into an episode with harsh lines and stark shadows that completely changed how the internet viewed the franchise. Up until this point, the show was always bathed in flat, bright midday lighting. But suddenly, the visual language shifts. The shadows get long, the lines get sharp. The cheerful illusion is finally about to break. For 40 episodes straight, Ava used her manic optimism as an impenetrable shield to protect her friends. But in this incredibly high-stakes finale, the villain forces her to confront the absolute futility of her mission. Her friends are compromised, her gadgets are totally broken, and in this dramatic slow-motion sequence, the shield shatters. Ava loses her signature tech goggles. For the very first time in the entire series, her eyes are completely uncovered, and we realize those goggles weren't just a fashion statement. They were literally filtering out the harsh, bleak colors of her reality. Without that visual filter, Ava is forced to look at the world exactly as it is. And the result is staggering. The energetic bounce in her character model goes entirely flat, she drops to her knees, the voice acting shifts from bright and loud to these quiet, hollow whispers. And the audio track? It drops into a deafening silence. In most cartoons, this is exactly the moment the hero gets a magical power-up. But the writers didn't give her a magical power-up. Instead, they grounded the scene in heartbreaking reality and gave her a full-blown panic attack. This stunning sequence completely shattered the colorful cartoon illusion. In a single episode, the show transformed from a goofy adventure into a profound documentary on grief for millions of young viewers. It delivered a sobering, deeply empathetic message. It is exhausting and impossible to smile through everything. Let me tell you, it was an absolute watershed moment in modern animation. So what does this all mean? Why does Ava Thompson matter so much today? Well, think about what makes a fictional character truly viral and unforgettable. It isn't their flawless, perfect nature. It's actually the exact opposite. It's the cracks in their design that let us see their humanity. Ava resonates so deeply with us because her perfect exterior was actually a coping mechanism, something that is incredibly relatable to an audience that's increasingly aware of mental health.
And this brilliantly illustrates how the creators really respected their audience. Just compare her Season 1 design to the final season. She goes from being perfectly bouncy and hiding immense trauma to wearing a much more subdued outfit with a smaller but finally genuine smile. She is accepting her reality. The creators flat out refused to leave her as a flat, two-dimensional mascot just to sell toys. Instead, they used the medium of animation to build a masterpiece of psychological storytelling, tracking a very real journey of healing.
Ava's enduring legacy taught an entire generation a vital lesson. You don't need to hide your pain or project endless, toxic positivity just to be a hero. You really don't have to hide your scars behind a neon mask. It's a beautifully complex message wrapped in a cheerful cartoon package. And, it leaves us with a really fascinating question to ponder. Knowing what we know now about the incredible depth of Ava Thompson, what other brightly colored pop culture mascots are out there hiding real tragedies right in plain sight?